Hi, I'm Heather North from heatherscreativeblessings.com, and today I am honored to be guest posting over on Catherine Pooler's blog. If you're one of my followers, I'll make sure and put a link down below so you can head on over there. If you are one of Catherine's followers, thank you for watching my video and letting me take over her blog for the day. In case you don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. I am a design team member at Stamp Nation. I also create the weekly challenges that go live on Stamp Nation on Wednesdays when we don't have a special event going on. I started the Inspired by classroom over at Stamp Nation because I am so inspired by the world around me, at different images and textiles, and I want to share with you how you too can be inspired by things that you see in everyday life. And I could still just pinch myself that I get to be a design team member for the Stamp of Approval collections. My card today comes from the Inspiration Nation event we recently had over at Stamp Nation, and specifically the card that Catherine made on day 7, I think it was. It's this card here. I was inspired by her, and I am going to case her. A good case changes at least 3 things, and I'm probably changing more than that, and my card ended up looking nothing like Catherine's, but I was inspired by her. I used the same stamp set. I'm using the Enchanted Garden from Sugar Pea Designs, and she used, I think, brushes. I don't have those. I have color bursts, which are similar, so I'm going to be using the color bursts. And the first thing I did was I took out my Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper, and I used a deactivator tool to just make sure embossing powder doesn't get all over the place. Then I am inking up my heart vine with Versamark ink and using some silver embossing powder from Stampin' Up, and I'm just going to emboss those leaves. As you know, Versamark is a clear ink and it's really hard to see, so I just added my embossing powder and then came back and did one more leaf to make sure that they were all not touching. Before I heat set this, I'm just going to turn my heat tool on, get it nice and hot, and then I'm going to melt that embossing powder until it gets shiny. Color bursts have a way of getting away from me and all over the place, so I like to put my project in a little box whenever I'm using them, and I taped it down just so it wouldn't move on me. I have an aquapainter here, and I just squeeze the barrel and squeeze out some water into each of those leaves, and I also spread it around a little bit. If you wanted to contain the color within the lines, you would just put the water in between the lines. Then I'm going to take some Phileo Green Color Burst, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I'm just going to squeeze it a little bit or tap it to get it onto my project. Now this color is very intense, so you want to try and tap more than squeeze. There were a couple places that weren't exactly wet, so I'm coming back in here with some more water, and then I'm just going to try and let it do what it wants to on its own. I also wanted to get some purple color in here because I'm going to use that for my butterflies, but I didn't want to spread the water too much, so I just tore off a piece of scrap paper to prevent the water from going over my heart vines, and then I just sprayed some water into that top corner, and now I'm coming in with the color burst, and a lot came out in that squirt there, way more than I wanted to. So my color is going to be darker and more intense than I planned, but that's part of the beauty of this technique. It's going to be a little bit different every time, and when it comes to watercolor, you have very little control, or at least I do. So I'm trying to mop up some of that color with a paper towel. I also put another piece of scrap paper down. You can see that really helped it from making my leaves purple. That's what I really didn't want to happen. And then I just set it aside to dry. You do want to make sure it's nice and dry before you run it through your die cutting machine, or you'll end up with that color all over your dies and your plates. So I'm just going to use some more of that medical tape to hold my dies in place, and then I'm going to run it through my Big Shot. I die cut some of the butterflies, and I cut out one of the U from the 2 U's dies from Casual Friday stamps. And then I took the Stitch Circle die and I put it in the top third of a card panel. It's Whisper White, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I just die cut it where I want my circle to go because I'm going to use an inlaid die cutting technique. I'm also going to take the stamp set from the All About You from Casual Friday stamps. And I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I was going to do You Make Me Smile or You Are My Greatest Gift, but I decided I wanted to send this card to my grandma, and what I really wanted to say was Miss You. So I took out the Miss, and I'm going to stamp that down with some black Stays On ink. Now it's just a matter of assembly. So I've got a standard card base here, and I'm going to take my card panel and adhere it with some Tombow Mono Multi Glue. I just position it into place, and when I have it where I want it, I flip it over upside down and rub it in. Just hold it for a few seconds for the glue to adhere. Then I'm going to take some more of that glue and put it inside the circle, and the glue gives me time to kind of manipulate the circle and get it exactly in the position I want. For my U die, I'm going to use my Xyron sticker maker. You just pull it through, and then I like to take a pencil or a pen and go around the entire outline, including the inside of different letters, and that makes the adhesive stick to that top sheet instead of the top of my die, which I don't want. I love using my Xyron. It makes it so easy to adhere little things. You could use it for the rest of the things on this card, the butterfly and the vines, but I didn't think all of you had that sticker maker, so I wanted to show you could also just use your glue. And the glue does give you time to position these vines into place. And I'm just lining up the stem with my circle and putting them on opposite corners, and then deciding which butterflies I was going to use. I strategically placed the glue in the center of the butterfly, and then I'm going to put a clear block down on it to hold it in place while that glue dries. I did this so that after it's dry, I can peel up the wings and have it look like the butterfly is floating. Now for those extra pieces I cut out, they would make a perfect decoration for the inside of my card. And that completes my card for today. Thank you so much, Catherine, for believing in me, letting me be a part of your design team, and for taking over your blog today. Thank you for everybody for watching. If you like this card, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel to see more videos from me. I hope that you find some time today to get creative. Bye!